Step out of the vehicle now. Do you know why I stopped you?
Officer, I'm a surgeon. There's a child coding at Memorial. I need to get
That's
there.
not my concern. License and registration. Hand them over now.
Officer, please, call the hospital. They'll confirm.
Every second matters
here.
Huh. Okay, sure. IDs don't mean anything. Anyone can print these.
I can see Memorial.
Step out of the vehicle now. Rain hammered against the windshield of the silver Tesla. Red and blue lights cut through the darkness at the intersection of Riverside Drive and Medical Center Parkway. 11:47 p.m. on a Friday night. Dr. Imani Whitmore's hands gripped the steering wheel, her hospital ID swinging from the lanyard around her neck. Navy blue scrubs, phone buzzing incessantly on the passenger seat. Officer, I'm a surgeon. There's a child coding at Memorial. I need to get there. Officer Marcus Denton's hand rested on his holster. His voice was flat, authoritative, allowing no argument. That's not my concern. License and registration. 3 blocks away, through the rain, the lights of Memorial Children's Hospital glowed against the night sky. What happened in the next 23 minutes would cost a 6-year-old child her future, destroy a police department, and expose a pattern of harassment that had been ignored for 3 years. To understand how this moment would change everything, we need to know who this woman behind the wheel really was. Dr. Imani Whitmore, 41 years old, Chief of Pediatric Surgery at Memorial Children's Hospital. She'd graduated summa cum laude from Johns Hopkins, top 5% of her class at Harvard Medical School, youngest fellow ever accepted into the pediatric surgery program at Boston Children's Hospital. 17 years of surgical experience, 14 of them at Memorial. The numbers told part of the story. Over 3,200 successful pediatric surgeries, a 98.7% success rate on high-risk congenital heart defect repairs, 47 published articles in peer-reviewed pediatric surgical journals. U.S. News had named her one of America's top 50 pediatric surgeons 3 years running. She'd received the Presidential Award for Medical Excellence in 2021. But here's what made Dr. Whitmore different from most doctors. She didn't just work at Memorial Children's Hospital. She owned it. 3 years earlier, when the hospital faced closure due to financial insolvency, Dr. Whitmore had purchased a 52% controlling stake. $340 million annual budget, 1,200 employees. She'd saved the entire institution. Dr. James Morrison, the hospital's CEO, put it simply. Dr. Whitmore didn't just save children's lives. She saved this entire institution. Without her investment and leadership, Memorial would have closed in 2019. She's the reason 200,000 children in this region have access to specialized care. She'd been raised by a single mother who worked as a nurse. Her younger brother had died from a treatable condition because they couldn't access a specialist. That loss had shaped everything that followed. She'd established a free pediatric surgical clinic for uninsured families, donated $2 million to local schools. That night, October 14, 2022, she'd already been in surgery for 6 hours. She was heading home when her phone lit up with an emergency page. Maya Chen, 6 years old, struck by a car, internal bleeding, needed immediate surgical intervention. Dr. Whitmore turned her car around without hesitation. She never made it to the hospital. Officer Marcus Denton, 34 years old, badge number 4477. 7-year veteran of the Metropolitan Police Department. He'd grown up in suburban Westfield County. His father had been a police officer for 25 years. Denton had worked briefly in private security before joining MPD at 27. He'd graduated in the middle of his academy class. His training evaluations noted he was eager, but sometimes assumes authority beyond circumstances. Traffic Enforcement Division. Evening shift, 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. He primarily patrolled the medical district and surrounding affluent neighborhoods. 7 years on the job, 847 traffic stops, 340 citations issued, 12 arrests, mostly for outstanding warrants discovered during stops. He'd received 2 department commendations for DUI arrests. Denton considered himself a good cop. But there was something else in his file. 14 formal complaints over 7 years. 11 of them from black drivers. 9 of those 11 were professionals. 2 attorneys, 2 doctors, 1 professor, 1 engineer, 3 business owners. The pattern in the complaints was consistent: excessive suspicion, refusal to accept credentials, assumption of criminal activity, prolonged detention without cause. All 14 complaints had been investigated by Sergeant William Kowalski, Denton's direct supervisor. All 14 had been ruled unfounded or unsubstantiated. The language in the dismissals was nearly identical every time. Officer followed procedure. Complainant failed to prove bias. No policy violation occurred. Sergeant Kowalski had been with the department for 12 years. He dismissed 89% of complaints against officers under his command. 3 weeks before October 14th, a black attorney had filed complaint number 14. Denton had held him for 40 minutes, claiming his Mercedes was suspiciously nice. That complaint was still pending when Denton activated his lights behind Dr. Whitmore's Tesla. Friday, October 14th, 2022, 11:39 p.m. Heavy rain, 1.2 inches per hour, visibility under 100 feet. Dr. Whitmore had worked a long day, 2 scheduled surgeries from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., budget meeting from 3 to 5, post-op rounds from 6 to 7. She'd finally headed home at 11:30. Then her phone rang. Dr. Sarah Chen, the attending ER physician. Her voice was tight with controlled panic. "Imani, I need you here. Now it's my daughter." Maya Chen, 6 years old, had been struck by a car while crossing the street with her father. Internal bleeding, liver laceration, possible spleen rupture. Dr. Whitmore activated her hazard lights and turned the car around immediately. GPS showed 3.4 miles to Memorial. She pressed the accelerator. 48 miles per hour in a 35-mile-per-hour zone. Medical district, minimal traffic at that hour. She was focused on one thing: getting to that operating room before Maya Chen bled out. Officer Denton was on routine patrol when he clocked her speed. He radioed dispatch at 11:47 p.m. Traffic stop, single vehicle, medical district. His report would later note: silver luxury vehicle, driving erratically, excessive speed, driver appeared agitated. The body camera would tell a different story. Dr. Whitmore's driving was controlled. Her hazard lights were on. She signaled properly before pulling over. 0.8 of a mile from the hospital, 3 blocks. At exactly 11:47 p.m., Officer Denton made a decision that would cost him everything. Dr. Whitmore rolled down her window immediately, both hands visible on the steering wheel. Hospital ID clearly displayed on her chest. Officer Denton approached with his flashlight, the beam cutting directly into her eyes. His hand rested on his holster. Defensive stance. "License and registration. Do you know why I stopped you?" Dr. Whitmore kept her voice calm, professional. "Officer, I'm Dr. Imani Whitmore, Chief of Pediatric Surgery at Memorial. I received an emergency page. There's a 6-year-old coding 3 blocks from here. I need to get to the hospital immediately." Her first thought: stay calm, explain clearly. He'll understand. He has to understand. "That doesn't give you the right to speed. License and registration." She reached for her wallet slowly, producing 3 forms of identification. Hospital executive badge with her photo and title, Chief of Pediatric Surgery. State Medical Board license. Driver's license with the hospital address. "Officer, please call the hospital. They'll confirm. Every second matters." Her phone buzzed. A text from Dr. Chen. "Where are you? She's crashing. BP 6040. Denton examined each ID with his flashlight. 45 seconds passed. "IDs don't mean anything. Anyone can print these. Step out of the vehicle." "Officer Denton," she read his nameplate. "I can see Memorial from here. Call them. Ask for Dr. Sarah Chen in the ER. Ask about Maya Chen, please." His expression hardened. "Ma'am, I'm not calling anyone. You were speeding, you're being evasive, and now you're refusing to comply. Step out of the vehicle now or you'll be arrested for obstruction. Another buzz. Dr. Chen. Imani, she's seizing. We need you now. Denton leaned closer to the window. I don't know how you got these IDs, but luxury cars and fake credentials are a pattern in this area. Dr. Whitmore felt the words land like a physical blow. She kept her voice tight but controlled. Officer, I have broken no law that justifies detaining me when a child is dying. I am asserting my right under the Medical Emergency Response Act to proceed to the hospital. You can follow me and write the citation there. You don't get to decide that. Step out now. I'm giving you my information. I'm not fleeing. I'm explaining the emergency. What reasonable suspicion of a crime do you have? Denton's hand moved to his weapon. Your attitude is giving me reasonable suspicion. Last warning. Dr. Whitmore looked at the hospital lights, visible through the rain, then back at Denton. You're really going to do this? You're really going to let a child die because you won't make a phone call? Step out now. This couldn't be happening. Not when she was this close. Not when Maya had minutes, not hours. Dr. Whitmore took a breath. Her voice broke slightly. Officer Denton, my name is Dr. Imani Whitmore. I am the chief of pediatric surgery at Memorial Children's Hospital. I also own 52% of that hospital. I am the only pediatric surgeon on call tonight qualified to perform the surgery that child needs. If you detain me and she dies, you will answer for it. 3 seconds of silence. Rain drumming on the row. Of scanner static. Denton's face shifted. Confusion, then defensiveness, then anger. Now you're threatening a police officer. Turn around, hands behind your back. What? You heard me. You're under arrest for obstruction, threatening an officer, and possible identity theft. The metallic click of handcuffs. Badge number, I need your badge number. You'll get all that at the station. As he placed her in the patrol car, Dr. Whitmore's voice shook. Her name is Maya Chen. She's 6 years old, and when she dies, everyone will know you did this. Time stamp on the body camera, 11:59 p.m. 12 minutes since the stop began. Dr. Whitmore sat in the back of that patrol car, handcuffed, watching the hospital lights through the rain-streaked window. 3 blocks away. They arrived at the station at 12:14 a.m., 27 minutes since the stop began. Officer Denton escorted her inside, still in handcuffs. The hospital ID still hung from her neck. Lieutenant Patricia Vasquez, the watch commander on duty, looked up from her desk. 19-year veteran. She noticed the scrubs immediately. What's the charge? Speeding, obstruction, threatening an officer, possible identity theft. Vasquez stood up. Identity theft, what are you talking about? Dr. Whitmore's voice was no longer calm, no longer controlled. Lieutenant, I am Dr. Imani Whitmore. I own Memorial Children's Hospital. I was rushing to perform emergency surgery on a 6-year-old girl who was struck by a car. Officer Denton detained me for 27 minutes. I need you to call the hospital right now and ask for Dr. Sarah Chen. And I need to know Officer Denton's badge number because I will be filing a formal complaint, and depending on what happened to that child, potentially criminal charges. Vasquez picked up her phone, called Memorial's ER at 12:16 a.m. This is Lieutenant Vasquez, MPD. I need to speak with Dr. Sarah Chen immediately. 30 seconds of silence. Then Vasquez's expression changed completely. Maya Chen coded at 11:52 p.m. Dr. Chen's voice came through, loud enough for everyone to hear. We've been trying to stabilize her without Dr. Whitmore. Where is she? We called her 40 minutes ago. She's here. She was arrested. I'm releasing her immediately. Arrested? Jesus Christ. Get her here now. Vasquez moved fast. Get those cuffs off her now. Dr. Whitmore's voice cracked. Is she alive? Tell me Maya is alive. They're still working on her. Officer Martinez will drive you code 3. As Dr. Whitmore rushed toward the door, she stopped, turned to face Denton. I asked you to make a phone call. One phone call, remember that. Officer Denton stood silent, his face pale, beginning to understand. The body camera had captured everything. Every dismissal, every assumption, every second of delay. Timestamp 12:18 a.m. 31 minutes. Dr. Whitmore ran into that ER at 12:23 a.m. She scrubbed, she operated. For 2 hours and 40 minutes she fought for Maya Chen's life. She successfully repaired the internal injuries, liver laceration, ruptured spleen, stopped the bleeding. But the 31-minute delay had caused prolonged hypoxic brain injury, oxygen deprivation. Dr. Chen's statement to investigators was clinical and devastating. If Dr. Whitmore had arrived when paged, Maya's prognosis would have been full recovery. The delay caused permanent neurological damage. She'll require lifelong care. Maya survived, but she would never live independently. At 3:47 a.m., still in surgical scrubs, Dr. Whitmore filed a formal complaint with Internal Affairs. Chief of Police Anthony Morrison personally called her at 7:30 a.m. Officer Denton was placed on administrative leave effective immediately. By 6 p.m. on October 15th, local news had broken the story. Dr. Whitmore's attorney had released a statement. The Chen family retained civil rights attorney Benjamin Foster within 48 hours. Notice of intent to sue. Body camera footage was released to Dr. Whitmore's legal team immediately. Within 36 hours, #Justice for Maya was trending nationally. CNN, NBC, NPR, national coverage within 72 hours. On October 17th, Memorial's Board of Directors held an emergency session. Dr. Whitmore recounted the entire incident. The board voted unanimously to ban MPD from hospital property pending investigation. The body camera footage was unequivocal. 31 minutes of a surgeon begging to save a child's life. 31 minutes of an officer refusing to make a phone call. Internal Affairs opened a full investigation on October 16th. What they found went far beyond one traffic stop. The Internal Affairs Division led the investigation, assisted by the State Attorney General's Civil Rights Unit and the FBI's Civil Rights Division. 11 weeks, October 16, 2022 to January 3, 2023. Captain Jennifer Reeves from Internal Affairs, Assistant Attorney General Thomas Bradford from the Civil Rights Unit. They reviewed 100 TW. 7 hours of body camera footage from Denton's 847 traffic stops. Complete dispatch records and traffic stop data from 2016 to 2022. All 14 previous complaints and Sergeant Kowalski's investigation files. 43 witness interviews. Statistical analysis of Denton's stop patterns by demographic data. Dr. Whitmore provided a detailed 40-page statement. Medical expert testimony on the impact of the delay. Timeline documentation. Officer Denton's defense. I followed procedure. She was hostile and suspicious. I had no way to verify her identity in the field. The dispatch records proved he never attempted to call the hospital. Sergeant Kowalski defended dismissing all 14 complaints. He claimed the complainants were playing the race card. Then the investigators analyzed Denton's statistics. 847 total stops over 7 years. 62% involved black drivers, in a district with a 31% black population. In affluent neighborhoods with median incomes above $95,000, 78% of black drivers were stopped, compared to 23% of white drivers. Average stop duration, 8 minutes for white drivers, 19 minutes for black drivers. Citation rate, 35% for white drivers, 41% for black drivers, but 28% of citations against black drivers were later dismissed in court, compared to 12% for white drivers. The pattern in the complaints was even more damning. All 11 complaints from black professionals involved the same elements. Denton questioning the legitimacy of their credentials. Denton suggesting their vehicles were suspicious or didn't match their appearance. Prolonged detention despite full compliance. Specific language repeated across incidents. How do you afford this car? Where did you really get this ID? What are you really doing in this neighborhood? After media coverage, 6 additional black professionals came forward with similar experiences they'd never formally reported. Dr. Marcus Johnson, cardiologist, stopped outside his own medical office, detained 35 minutes while Denton verified he actually worked there. Attorney Sheila Davis stopped driving to the courthouse, told her bar license looked fake. Professor David Williams stopped 3 times in 18 months in the same neighborhood where he'd lived for 7 years. The investigation revealed Sergeant Kowalski had supervised Denton for 6 years. He dismissed all 14 complaints using nearly identical language. Never interviewed witnesses mentioned by complainants. Never reviewed body camera footage in detail. Concluded officer followed procedure without explaining what procedure justified the stops. Statistical analysis showed Kowalski dismissed 94% of complaints against officers under his command. Department average 67%. The investigation report's conclusion was direct. Clear and convincing evidence of racial profiling spanning Officer Denton's entire career. Professor Angela Hayes from Georgetown Law's Civil Rights Clinic testified, "This is a textbook case of pretextual stops targeting black professionals. The pattern is consistent with research showing that black Americans with visible markers of success face increased scrutiny from law enforcement." The final finding: Officer Denton engaged in a sustained pattern of racial profiling that was enabled, protected, and effectively endorsed by supervisory failure. Sergeant Kowalski's perfunctory dismissal of legitimate complaints created an environment where constitutional violations were inevitable. The investigation concluded this wasn't isolated to Denton. Department-wide review found 7 other officers with similar complaint patterns, all supervised by Kowalski or 2 other supervisors in his chain of command. The investigation's conclusion was released January 3, 2023. Recommendation: immediate termination for both Denton and Kowalski, criminal prosecution for civil rights violations, comprehensive department audit. Officer Marcus Denton was terminated January 6, 2023. The police union initially defended him. After the body camera footage went public, they withdrew support. Denton filed no appeal. The state attorney filed criminal charges: deprivation of rights under color of law, federal statute, false arrest, and official misconduct. Denton rejected a plea deal. He was convicted at trial in July 2023. Sentence: 18 months in federal prison, 3 years supervised release, permanently barred from law enforcement in any state. His law enforcement certification was revoked by the State Police Standards Board. He settled the civil lawsuit personally for $350,000, his maximum insurance coverage. He filed for bankruptcy in August 2023. Reports indicate he now works in private security in another state. Confirmed. He has never publicly apologized. Sergeant Kowalski retired for personal reasons on January 10, 2023. He avoided termination by retiring first. His pension was reduced by 40% due to the misconduct finding. He was named as a defendant in 7 civil rights lawsuits from previous complainants. No criminal charges were filed. Prosecutors cited difficulty proving intent. He currently lives in Florida, no longer in law enforcement. The financial toll on the city was catastrophic. The Chen family lawsuit, $31 million settlement, the largest in state history for law enforcement misconduct. $18 million for Maya's lifetime care. $8 million for pain and suffering. $5 million in punitive damages. Dr. Whitmore's lawsuit, $2.8 million settlement. She donated the entire amount to establish the Maya Chen Medical Justice Fund. 7 additional lawsuits from previously dismissed complainants, $4.7 million total. Legal defense costs, $1.9 million. Federal civil rights investigation costs, $680,000. Total financial impact, $41.1 million. The department's insurance covered $15 million. City taxpayers covered $26.1 million. Chief Morrison was forced to resign in April 2023 under pressure from the city council and community. Deputy Chief Harris, who'd overseen Kowalski's division, was demoted to captain and transferred. 3 other supervisors who had dismissed complaints received formal reprimands and mandatory retraining. Community trust surveys showed 71% distrust of MPD, up from 42% before the incident. Recruitment applications dropped 58% in 2023. 4 veteran officers resigned, citing shame over department culture. 2 backup officers who'd witnessed Dr. Whitmore's arrest but didn't intervene received 30-day suspensions without pay, mandatory civil rights training. But the consequences extended beyond punishment. In September 2023, the state legislature passed the Maya Chen Act. Officers must now verify medical emergencies within 2 minutes or face mandatory discipline. Creates a presumption of validity for medical professional credentials. Establishes a duty to facilitate for emergency medical response. Violations constitute official misconduct, a criminal charge. The department implemented comprehensive reforms. All complaints now investigated by an independent civilian review board, not internal supervisors. Public dashboard showing all traffic stops by race, reason, duration, outcome, updated weekly. Early warning system. Officers with 3 or more complaints in 12 months automatically flagged for review and remedial training. Supervisors must review 10% of each officer's body camera footage monthly. 40 hours of mandatory bias recognition training, developed with the NAACP and medical community. Officers must use dispatch to verify professional credentials when presented. 2-minute maximum response time. Supervisors who dismiss complaints without thorough investigation face discipline up to termination. Officers must articulate specific reasonable suspicion beyond appeared suspicious or didn't fit the neighborhood. Full-time community liaison position created for hospital and medical community relations. Real-time verification system for medical licenses, bar licenses, professional certifications. The Whitmore Protocols, named after Dr. Whitmore, became a national model. 47 police departments across 12 states adopted them for handling medical emergency scenarios. The City Council reduced MPD's budget by 12%, $8.4 million, reallocated to mental health crisis teams and community oversight. All 847 of Denton's previous stops were reviewed. 6 additional constitutional violations identified. 4 more settlements paid. Department-wide audit, 127 officers investigated, 19 found to have concerning complaint profiles, 7 terminated, 12 required remedial training. Total of $6.2 million paid to 11 additional victims whose complaints had been improperly dismissed. A permanent civilian police oversight commission was established with subpoena power and independent investigation authority. The case is now studied in 34 police academies, 18 law schools, featured in Department of Justice training materials on civil rights violations. Dr. Whitmore testified before Congress on racial profiling, consulted on reform efforts in 8 cities, established annual Maya Chen Awards for officers who demonstrate exceptional community service. Dr. Imani Whitmore is now Chief Executive Officer of Memorial Children's Hospital, promoted in 2024. She still operates, still saves children's lives. She created a national training curriculum on police interactions for medical professionals, consulted on reform efforts in 8 states, published an influential paper in the Journal of Medical Ethics on law enforcement barriers to emergency care. Maya Chen is 8 years old now. She requires full-time care. She cannot attend regular school. Her father says She's still our Maya, just different. We focus on what we still have. The reforms at MPD have shown measurable results. Complaint dismissal rates dropped from 67% to 31%. Community trust is slowly rebuilding. Distrust down to 58% from 71%. The Whitmore protocols have been used in over 23,000 police training hours across 47 departments, documented to have reduced medical emergency detention incidents by 73%. But here's what this case revealed that goes beyond numbers and reforms. Credentials don't protect you from bias. Dr. Whitmore had 3 forms of identification. She owned the hospital visible 3 blocks away. She explained the emergency clearly, professionally, urgently. It didn't matter, because Officer Denton had already decided who she must be based on what he saw. A black woman in a luxury car in an affluent neighborhood. The Fourth Amendment protections, the requirement of reasonable suspicion, meant nothing when an officer could extend a detention indefinitely based on suspicion that someone's success didn't fit his expectations. This case became historically significant for 3 reasons. First time a police department had its budget reduced specifically in response to racial profiling. Largest medical emergency settlement in United States history. Created legislative change in 12 states. Dr. Whitmore said it best in her 2023 congressional testimony. I survived that night because of my privilege, my education, my position, my resources. But my privilege couldn't save Maya. And that's what people don't understand about bias in policing. It doesn't matter who you are when someone has already decided who you must be. The body camera footage was the difference between he said, she said, and undeniable evidence. 31 minutes, all recorded, all preserved, all used to create accountability. Without that footage, this would have been another dismissed complaint, number 15, filed and forgotten. Evidence doesn't lie, bias does. Dr. Whitmore still responds to emergency pages, still rushes to save children. Same hospital, same dedication. But now when officers see her, they know who she is, they know what happened, and they know that assumptions have consequences. If this story made you think differently about how bias operates, even in life-or-death situations, even toward people with extraordinary credentials, share it. Your engagement helps these stories reach people who need to understand that profiling doesn't stop at traffic stops. It extends into operating rooms, into emergency responses, into moments when seconds determine whether a child walks again. Every share reaches someone who's experienced something similar. Every view tells the platform this matters. If you've experienced something like this, you're not alone. Know your rights, demand accountability, document everything. This channel exists to show what accountability looks like, the failures that enable abuse, and the reforms that prevent it. Thanks for watching. 3 blocks. That's how far Dr. Whitmore was from saving Maya Chen's future. 3 blocks and 31 minutes. Officer Denton wouldn't make a phone call. And now everyone knows the cost of that choice.